Strong safeties. These are the bodies that are going to be playing more. And of course, the bigger type of players returning the ball as well. Valladay and Copperington are back. It's going to be Copperington returning it. Blake puts up Copperington. This one. Copperington deep in the Carolina territory. Exactly what the Chiefs were looking for. Copperington finds the open space, turns it into a 66-yard return. The rookie from NC Central using that speed. Huge hole in the backside. Really nice. And that's the thing. You can see it, read it. You're going to have a chance. But all of a sudden, Brad Porter, he loves this because you look around the league, everybody's struggling to find something. And right there, it's a big play, folks. That's what you're going to see. That crack right there, small crack, and leads to a huge play. So, excellent job for the Jets. Back in his home state, North Carolina. Martinez is in. Give to Anaconda, who turns that into a first down run. So here is Adrian Martinez, the rookie from Kansas State, transferred from Nebraska last week. Looks sharp, 6 of 10, also using those legs. There's a 12-yard hitting of Anaconda. And it's super dangerous on first down as well, especially if you're not manageable plays and you're in man. You really got to make sure you keep your eyes on him because he can take off and run it every time. They put Simpson in front of Anaconda, so
Yeah, see, you can get it. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Monster, yeah. Be careful.
Oh no, be careful.
Be careful, Yuki. It's scary.
Careful.
Phrase that one out. He said the word was sent to the children of Israel, but the word was sent unto the children of Israel, preaching peace by Yahweh Christ for them, not for all nations. He has not shown that. Let's go back to Romans. Let's look at Romans real fast. Romans 9 says, 9 and 24 says, even us whom he have called. Now remember, he said Gentiles in the Bible is not Israelites. That's what he said. And I've dealt with his Acts the 10th chapter. I'll do his Acts the 11th chapter after I finish this. In Romans 9, it says, even us whom he have called, not of the Jews.
Hey, peace, LCK. Oh yeah. I'm getting all of their arguments because for me right now, I think it's an easy win versus any of them. But now I'm just like preparing for their rabbit holes because in the debate setting, I think I could wipe them all out right now. But I'm also preparing for just engagement where we're both talking. And you might win a debate, but you could lose an engagement. So I don't like to lose anything. So I'm confident I could be all in a debate where, 10 minutes introduction, 15-minute cross-exam, whatever. But in an engagement, I'm not that confident because I don't know all of their rabbit holes. I don't know what's important to, what they would go to as support to the topic. So, yeah, I'm preparing for all of their arguments. And same way with the Virgin Birth. I'm going to get them all about one by one. I'm going to go back and clip Gorilla Hebrew and Hassad arguments, their points, they were horrible. I'm going to go back and clip Arayla points, they were horrible. And, of course, IUIC, they were horrible. But so I watch it first, like I'm doing now. I'm going to go back and watch it again. So keep in mind, to get their points clipped, I got to go back and watch them all over again. So that's how much study I've been putting in.
Jews only, but
plus I'm reading the Bible because I'm reading like the area they will run to. So I'm reading all about scenario right now.
Also of the Gentiles. Whoa. Here we go. The 11th chapter after I finish this. In Romans 9, it says, even us whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. Whoa. Here we go with Gentiles. Remember, my premise was that based on the context, because there's not a race of people called Gentiles. The Japhites, the Hamites.
No, Gentiles are just their races combined, man. Everybody but a Israelite, seed of Jacob.
The Ammonites, the Moabites, those are races of people. Gentiles is a byword that was put blanketly, which is why we could be called strangers. We could be called Gentiles.
Yeah,
So
the problem, you can't find anywhere in the Bible where you were called Gentiles. I'm talking about in context, like let's say Israel doing something wrong, or in the moment. We're not talking about. So, for example, as the Israelites lived and did what they did in their present time, they were never called Gentiles in their present time, or heathens, or nations. But or let's stick with heathens and Gentiles. They were never called that during their walk. So when Moses was dealing with them, he never called them Gentiles. When the kings were dealing with them, they were never called Gentiles. When Jeremiah was prophesying against them, and Isaiah and all these other prophets, they were never called Gentiles. So, Captain, you got to show me during their walk who called them a Gentile during their walk. And the answer is overwhelmingly nobody. They were always known as Israelites to everybody. See the Jacob.
It's not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. As it is a Japhites,
okay,
the Hamites,
he went to
the Ammonites.
Romans 9. Let me go there with him. Right.
The Moabites, those are races of people.
This iPad
is a byword that was put blanketly, which is why we could be called strangers. We could be called Gentiles. So it says not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles, as it saith also in Osee.
Are we okay? So let me just go here.
Sheffield, they were getting a fourth-round pick in 2019 out of Ohio State, has played with San Francisco and Tennessee.
All right, you got it. Here, I'm bringing the rest out here. You got like 2 tissues left, girl.
All right. All right. So, all right.
You got to send the link to yourself?
I sent it to you. So in just case I hop off abruptly, if you want, you can hop off too, or you can continue. I sent the link to the video, so if I did hop off abruptly, you wanted to just finish it yourself, or you can stop. You can stop wherever you want to stop. You know, and then log off. I put the link in just for that, so you have the option to continue, or you can hop off too. All right. Oh damn.
Okay.
All right. So he went to Romans 9. I'm not sure where he went. Or I wasn't.
We could be called the Moabites. Those are not a race, not of the 11th chapter, after whom he hath called. Now, not shown that. We're preaching peace by Yahushua Christ for them, not for all nations. He has not shown that. Let's go back to Romans. Let's look at Romans real fast. Romans 9 says, 9 and 24 says,
soaking in a lot because no one's really gotten in really.
Really? All right. So he's going to read 9 and 24.
Daddy,
And yeah,
mail.
it says,
It's mail.
okay, it
All right.
says,
Bye, guys. Love you.
okay, go get it. It says, and we are among those whom he selected, both from the Jews and from the Gentiles. So now let's see what he's going to say.
Even us whom he have called. Now remember, he said Gentiles in the Bible is not Israelites. That's what he said. And I've dealt with his Acts the 10th chapter. I'll do his Acts the 11th. No, none of the Jews only, but also Gentiles. Whoa, Gentiles. Remember, my premise was that based on the context, because there's not a race of people called Gentiles. The Japhites, the Hamites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, those are races of people. Gentiles is a byword that was put blanketly, which is why we could be called strangers. We could be called Gentiles. So it says, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. As it saith also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my. As it saith, we could be called Gentiles. So it says, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. As it saith also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people.
I'm going to read Hosea
Yeah.
up to 11. All right.
And her beloved, which was not my beloved. Why is Paul quoting Hosea? Because in the book of Hosea, it foretold what would happen to the children of Israel. In in Hosea 1 and 10, it says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass in the place where it was said unto them, because we are being cut off from the Most High. So in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God.
And to me, it's just amazing how they just go to verse 10 because it sounds like it's supporting them. Okay. Let's go to Hosea. Shall we? Okay. Now, so we're going to read not just verse 10. We're going to read past verse 10, starting from verse 1, past verse 10 to verse 11 for context. Okay.
Yeah.
The Lord gave this message to Hosea, son of Beeri, during the years when Uzziah, Jotham, and Ahaz and Hezekiah were kings of Judah, and Jeroboam, son of Jehoash, was king of Israel, Hosea's wife and children. When the Lord first began speaking to Israel through Hosea, he said to him, go and marry a prostitute. So this story should be becoming familiar to some of you people. So that some of her children will be conceived in prostitution. This will illustrate how Israel has acted like a prostitute by turning against the Lord and worshiping other gods. So Hosea went and married Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, and she became pregnant and gave Hosea a son. And the Lord said, name the child Jezreel, for I am about to punish King Jehu's dynasty to avenge the murders he committed at Jezreel. In fact, I will bring an end to Israelites' independence. I will break his military power in the Jezreel Valley. Okay. Soon, Gomer became pregnant again and gave birth to a daughter. And the Lord said to Hosea, name your daughter Lo Ruhamah, not love. For I will no longer show love to the people of Israel and forgive them, but I will show love to the people of Judah. I will free them from their enemies, not with weapons and armies or horses and charioteers, but by the power of the Lord their God. After Gomer had weaned Lo Rahama, she again became pregnant and gave birth to a son, a second son. And the Lord said, name him Lo-Ami, not my people. Huh? And the Lord said, name him Lo-Ami, not my people. For Israel is not my people, and I am not their God. Okay, yet the time will come when Israel's people will be like the sands of the seashore, too many to count. Then at the place where they were told, you are not my people, it will be said, you are the children of the living God. Then the people of Judah and Israel will unite together. They will choose one leader for themselves, and they will return from exile together. What a day that will be, the day of Jezreel, when God will again plant his people in his hand. All right. So this was an analogy that, well, sort of. He was using Hosea to marry Gomer, a prostitute, because the Lord said, "Why aren't the Israelites, the house of Israel, his people? Because they were marrying other gods. He called them prostitutes. So their actions made the Lord say, you're not my people. Ungodly actions caused that. Right?
Right. So if
But
that's true, then that means the Gentiles are not his.
Right. So in the same breath, he's not respecting persons. So even though he doesn't call you, right? First, he doesn't call you at all. If you start to respect him and acknowledge him as the power, most cases in the Bible, Ruth, Rahab, the woman, her child, Elisha, that soldier, that heathen soldier, you will continually see the Lord find favor in them. He's not a respecter of persons. All right. So just keep in mind, Captain and them like to skip the fact that he's calling them not his people, because they turned to prostitution to worship and marry other gods. That's the reason. So of course they were his people, but once you choose another god, you decided that's not your God anymore. So he just agrees. So Isaiah tells you that he divorced Israel. Okay. All right. So that right there explains that. So now I don't know what reason why Captain brought it up, but that's the full context. So it wasn't that they were not his people because God just kicked them out. They chose other gods to marry and I guess sleep with, prostitution. Then he said, you were not my people, because that's how they behave. But again, it has everything to do with idolatry. And you'll see this, and you'll see this play out all throughout the Bible, Old and New Testament. So when he says you're not his people or you're his people, it's because you're serving and worshiping him, or the opposite. All right, let's move on. So let's go back to your Captain all over again.
Hosea gave off from the Most High, the sand of the sea, which can happen to the people which were not. We could be called Gentiles. So
and by the way,
it says not of the Jews
Gentiles,
only, but
he didn't call them Gentiles. All right. So I also pinpoint that he didn't call them Gentiles. He said that they were ungodly. So just keep in mind, the Bible calls anyone really a Gentile by their actions, lacking acknowledging the Most High God as the one supreme power. All right.
Yeah.
So you become
and
a Gentile.
Even in Esther, it doesn't say they were called Gentiles. It says they became Gentiles. So Gentile or Jew, they became Jews. So Jew and Gentile is a state of being. It's a representation of your actions. Basically, it's not Yeah, you can be called something, but usually you're called by your ethnicity. Like nobody's gonna call me a white boy. They're gonna say I'm acting white.
Yes, I pointed out earlier that Israel in their present, I don't believe ever was called a Gentile. Nobody acknowledged them as, hey, you're the Gentiles. No, they was always known as God's people. They might have been wicked as hell, but they were always known as God's people. So Captain got to show where Gentiles, as they walk, another nation or God called them a Gentile as they walk. And he won't be able to do that. Because like you said, state of being, it's an action. It's a mindset that calls you, like your actions call you a Gentile. Nobody calls you one as you're acting like that. So if Gentiles, like you said, you heard Captain broke it down. Gentiles not a nation. Thank you, Captain. It's a bunch of non-believers in God. That's all it is.
Also of the Gentiles, as it saith also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people.
In a sense, Captain and people hold that position is correct in a sense. In a sense, yeah, they're correct, but the reverse goes as well. It can't go one way. So if your ungodliness puts you in a Gentile state of being, then your godliness puts you in the Israel state of being. So when the Bible says to the Jew and Gentile, it could maybe no.
They what they do is they just assume their position while ignoring the fact that non-Israelites are actually Gentiles.
Right, because they never knew God. God never came to them, so that they were birth Gentiles. They are vets. They are experienced professional Gentiles. Right. So, but when you see the word Gentile, so yes, Israel behaves like Gentiles. But when you see the word Gentile in the New Testament or Old Testament, it's not speaking to Israel. None of them. It's not speaking to, because Israel is normally identified and acknowledged as Israel. We see Jew and Gentile. Jew a lot of times is the umbrella for all Israel, and even Israel is an umbrella for all Israel, and Gentiles usually an umbrella for all Gentiles.
All right. I forgot my key.
And her beloved, which was not my beloved. Why is Paul quoting Hosea? Because in the book of Hosea, it foretold what would happen to the children of Israel. In in Hosea 1:10, it says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass in the place where it was said unto them, because we're being cut off from the Most High. So in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people.
So now let's go back to not Romans 9:24. Actually, that's
so you said you got like 40 minutes and you might just randomly jump off.
Yeah, because I know they're gonna come back. Probably drunk.
Oh, okay.
All right. So here we go. So verse 16. For I'm not ashamed of this good news about Christ. It is the power of God at work, saving everyone who believes. Everyone. I mean, Captain, you want to define everyone in your Zondervan? So it says saving everyone who believes. God and respected person. The Jew first, and also the Gentile. Okay.
You know what's interesting too?
Yeah.
When you look at that word believe, it's the word pistuo, and it's the verb form of faith. Faith is the noun, pistis, and belief is the verb. So you can really put those two together. Whenever you see faith, you necessarily see believe, unless you're looking at James where he says, can this faith save somebody that doesn't have works? That's a dead faith. That's a different type of faith. But any other faith, especially one that Jesus commends, That's a saving faith. That's a faith that believes, that works. Otherwise, Jesus wouldn't praise it. So when he goes to the Roman centurion and the Syrophoenician woman, he says, "Great is thy faith." So if Christ is, salvation to everyone who believes, they would be in that category as well. Now you would have to say, there's two different types of saved, and you would have to show, which they do try to show that, deliverance from your enemies, da da da. But the true enemy is the flesh and sin. That's why we get new bodies, and that's why we won't sin in heaven.
He just made a mess. All right, so yep. So right. So look at verse 17. So this good news tells us how God makes us right in his sight. And God makes us right in his sight. And it says, where am I? This is accomplished from start to finish by faith. As the scriptures say, faith that a righteous person has life. So he said, she has great faith. It says start to finish.
And read Philippians 1:6. That's a really good verse to kind of go along with faith, because faith is a gift. Okay.
Now you got. I'm top to 24. My little pad.
Okay. I'm gonna just pull it up real quick and read it. But faith is a gift and a work of God, because it's something that God gives and places in a man's heart. So Philippians 1 and I think 6. Right. So Paul's writing to the church at Philippi, and he says, "For your fellowship in the gospel from the first day until now, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ." So that means once God puts faith in you, it's not like he's just going to be like, "Oh, that's it. No more work. You're going to, I'm not going to do anything else in you." No, there's a promise made that once that faith is there, that you're basically counted as one of the elect. God's going to work in you and cause you to, to walk in his ways and to follow Christ and to, bear your daily cross. So Syrophoenician woman, stamped with the mark of God.
It's funny how every Gentile, natural ethnic Gentile, every ethnic heathen who show faith in the Most High,
I forgot my key.
They would call them all. They would call every heathen and Gentile who expressed faith in the Most High. They would call them all an Israelite, except for the Syrophoenician woman. Okay. Yeah, now, at one point, GMS did try to claim, and the reason why they don't try with her, the reason why they don't is only because Christ called her a dog.
But it's crazy because that was a good term. When you look at that term dog, look at all the other times dog is mentioned when Christ uses it in a derogatory way. When he called her a dog, that word, oh man, I forgot what the word is in Greek. But it basically means a house dog. So all the other dogs are rabid dogs that should be put down. But this one is a house dog that belongs to the house, and that's in the house, and that's so close to the table that it's eating the crumbs from the children's bread. This is a pet. And for Gentiles who were called dogs in the sense that they should be put down, to be called this term was actually a term of endearment. So they say it like, "Oh, what's a female dog? Oh, that's a B word." Like, what are you like?
Yeah.
What is up with this crazy exegetical work?
And I just thought about it. The servants who served Israel in their house, were they ever called Gentile or heathen?
No, they're called servants, bondmen. Yeah.
There you go. Because it seemed like Gentiles would be a far from the Most High. Like they won't be close to him or close to Israel. That's what I thought about. I said Gentiles who are actually in the house of Israel, servants, handmaids, and bondmen and women. I highly doubt they're referred to as Gentiles and heathens, because again, that means somebody ungodly. And we know the law with the servants that's in Israel house, they have to worship. They got to abide by the laws.
Yeah, they got to be circumcised and all that. That's what God first said to Abraham. He said, "Circumcise all that is with you, your bond servants, all of that."
One law for Israel, one law for strangers.
Yep.
Okay, so 18 is important. 18 is important. It says, but God shows his anger from heaven against all, not just Israelite sins, all sinful, wicked people who suppress the truth by their wickedness. That's everybody alike.
Yep.
They know the truth about God because he has made it obvious to them. For ever since the world was created, people have seen. So he went back to creation.
Mm-hmm.
He said the fact that they can see the earth and sky, they should know through everything God made it. They can clearly see his invisible qualities. So everybody. So he said, nobody got an excuse. Everybody can see his power and his fruit, his eternal power, divine nature. So they have no excuse for not knowing God. Hey, that's everybody. Dang, that was a powerful scripture, man. Yet they knew God, but they wouldn't worship him as God or even give him thanks. That's everybody. He said everybody knew God. That's crazy. And they began to think of foolish ideas of what God was like. As a result, their minds became dark and confused. Claiming to be wise, they instead became utter fools. And instead of worshiping the glorious, ever-living God, they worship idols made to look like mere people and birds and animals and reptiles. Now, natural Gentiles did that first, and Israel, every chance they got, not just Israel, people, even God's elect or God's chosen or God's favorite before Israel, were I think somebody was well, I definitely know Israel. All right, I ain't gonna go that far, but I definitely know Israel. Okay, so God abandoned them. So now here's the part where Captain just jumps to. So now we got the context. The context is people who did not respect God and acknowledge that he's the God. That he said it's clear he's the God for everybody. So people willingly disrespect him. So verse 24 says, so God abandoned them. That's who's the them? It's everybody who refused to acknowledge him as the one mighty power worthy of worship and instead set up false gods beside him. He said, it is shameful things in their hearts that their hearts desire. As a result, they did vile and degrading things with each other's bodies. They traded the truth about God for a lie. So they worship and serve the things God created instead of the creator himself, who is worthy of eternal praise. Amen. So that's how that's going to be read, like that. All right. Now, let's go back. The captain.
There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. This is a prophecy Hosea gave. My camera went out, I think. Hosea gave that prophecy to the children of Israel.
That was like facts. It sounded like facts. That was like a history lesson. He told Hosea to go marry prostitutes because what Israel did. How's that a prophecy? That's more of a history lesson. He said because Israel chose other guys. Captain, that was a history lesson. That wasn't a prophecy.
When was it fulfilled? In Romans the 9th chapter when Paul quoted it. He quoted.
So Captain just made up a prophecy of fulfillment. That's wild. Because even when we just read just now in Romans 9, it looked like Paul just reminiscing. Oh, not just reminiscing. He's stating facts too. He's saying, yo, wicked people are going to do wicked things, and righteous people are going to have faith and acknowledge God as the one mighty power. So Captain made up a prophecy and created a fulfillment.
Where did he even quote it? He quoted it because he was talking to Israelites in Romans the 10th chapter. Is it the 10th? The 10th or is it the 11th? Let me see. No.
Want me to stop the time? Want me pause it?
Wait, let me see what ILCK said. ILCK said, hold on. I'm trying to read from my phone. My iPads are charging. So let me go to
Hi, this is Moses Gumari.
damn.
Welcome to my channel.
He quoted it.
Oh. All right.
People, there it shall be
I got
said
like
unto
5
them.
hours of sleep. Right when I was about to go to sleep at like 2 a.m. because I stayed up late because I took a nap. My daughter came in, and I didn't go to sleep till like 4.
Yeah, that's like me every night, man. Because I be here going live. And so this is what happens. I no matter what time I go to bed, I'm guaranteed to wake up in between 3 to 5. Last night I woke up at 5 a.m. That's the first time I did that. Or I wake up at it's like 3 o'clock always. So then I'm not sleeping. Once I wake up, I wake up. So I do what I'm doing now. I either watch some videos, or I play chess, or I might do some reading, the Bible, catching up until I get back sleeping. It could be 2-3 hours before I get back sleeping. But I'm going back to sleep. But when I sleep, it's only for 2-3 hours more. It's not like I go to bed and I wake up 11, 12 p.m. I don't wake up any later than 9:30. No matter what time I go to bed, I don't wake up later than 9:30.
Yeah, because then the day is gone, basically. You wake up at like 10, 11, the day gone.
Yeah, my body's conditioned to just wake up. I remember one time a while ago, 11 o'clock, man. I felt like you saying just now, like, oh, like the day, and then I'm like behind because the day I think is earlier than what it is. So my whole day just messed up. All right, so
Yeah.
ILCK said Matthew 15:24 is not what they say. He said Matthew 14, 15, 16, Christ fed multitudes with bread, and disciples didn't believe faith. Christ could feed multitude with bread. And in the middle, the Gentile woman not only believes bread can heal her. So he said, but she is happy with just a crumb of that bread. She knows that their bread is Christ. The disciples in Matthew 14, 15, 16 didn't even have faith the bread could feed the people. Right. Good points. Okay.
Yeah. And what's interesting too, I saw a commentator, I think it was Alfred Edersheim, because there's 2 times where Christ feeds a multitude. The first time, I think it's actually right outside of Jerusalem before Passover. The second time is interesting because it's in a region that there are mainly Gentiles. And the number of, like, you got to pay attention to the numbers because the numbers all have significance. You remember when the disciples went fishing in John 21 after Christ resurrected, and it says they caught 153 fish?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember.
So what's interesting is, first off, what person you know is going to count past 100? You know, that's the interesting part, that they actually counted all of them and that it equaled out to 153. My pastor has a whole series on gematria because 153 adds up to the gematria of the Hebrew term sons of God, I believe Israel as well, adds up to 153. And I was like, wow, that's interesting right there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I believe those numbers are not there just to be there.
Yeah, I think I might live stream one of his or a couple of his gematria videos or some clips on my channel, because I think that stuff is really, really intriguing. Like the way it just all connects. I just think I've seen other people study gematria, but never like that.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I think I was listening the other day. He said he said when you look at the word for humble in the Hebrew, it adds up to the same number that the word eyes of the Lord adds up to. Like, what person you know is counting multiple words and seeing which ones connect? Like, I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I'll be interested like that. Those connections.
Yeah.
This guy don't think about. All right, let's go.
See, Hosea gave. Hosea McKenna went out, I think. Hosea gave that prophecy to the children of Israel. When was it fulfilled?
I don't recall
In
that
Romans, the
being a
9th chapter.
I recall that being a history lesson, and he's telling Hosea to do something right away, and Hosea did right away. He did it right away. So I don't see something like in the future from what I read. When now the prophecy was in verse, I believe, 11. He said Israel shall come together back in one. Yeah, but those events were happening, and the Israelites already committed prostitution. So I don't know where he's getting his prophecy from.
But you know, like even the prophecies,
he quoted
the prophecies in the Old Testament, how they're prophesied and then their fulfillment is not always exact. Like I always pull out this example. Remember when we were?
They're hardly exact. They're always. Matter of fact, yeah, you can ask Captain. Can you show me one prophecy from old to new that was like exactly the way it was said? They're always like a little off. All like everyone I ever read, it was slightly not this accurate. Like exactly the way it was told.
Exactly. And as long as God fulfills his promise that he's going to save Israel, he doesn't have to save all of them. They already admit that 2/3 of Israel is going to be cut off and die.
Right.
So if God saves 1/3, which are the elect, Romans 11 and 7, why do you care who these other branches are?
Don't forget what he did with Abraham. He was about to blow up Sodom and Gomorrah. And we did with Noah. There's 3 folks.
That was the remnant. And
well, 6 altogether.
What is it? Micah 5:2. I brought this out during the virgin birth debate a couple times. No, Micah 5:2 when it says what is it? Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little amongst the thousands of Judah. It talks about the Messiah and how he's gonna come out from Bethlehem and he's gonna be born in Bethlehem. And even the rabbis understood this. But anyways, it says, you shall be little among the thousands. But when it's fulfilled in Matthew 2, it says you are the greatest among Judah. Because when the prophecy was given, Messiah wasn't born, so they were little. But when Messiah was born, now they're the greatest.
Right.
I didn't even quote it. He quoted it because he was talking to Israelites. In Romans, the 10th chapter, is it the 10th? The 10th or is it the 11th? Let me see. No.
Let me stop the time. Let me pause it.
This is why before you date somebody like Captain, like or even a gorilla, it's a must to have an engagement like what I need to call weigh-in first, and then a formal debate. Like don't just go formal debate because they get to just spin a narrative too many times, and you're left to clean it up because most of the viewers don't know the story. Most of the viewers, so that's why I propose a different format for myself, and I think most people should borrow that format in debating. And it was simple. Like you should be allowed to just ask 4 questions, yes or no. And then when they answer yes or no, don't even just yes or no, that's it. And then the person gets to respond one by one on those answers. And when you get to go, you get a chance to do the same. And then y'all could cross.
Yeah, that would be crossfire.
You
want like separate?
No, yeah, separate. Because I don't want to waste my time answer your questions. I want to ask so it's like you ask your 4 questions, yes or no, done. I ask my 4 questions, yes or no, done. And now cross-examination. So now we get to cross-examine each other based upon our answers.
So that means you don't have to go through all that.
Okay, so that means once you get on me about my answer, I can respond, or I could just respond to you about your answer.
Right. Hey, did you see the debate with Daniel Hakikachu and I forget the other guy's name, but they were on Fresh and Fit, and they debated Sam Shamoon and Jay Dyer.
Yeah,
bro, you got to watch that debate, bro. They got destroyed, bro.
What was the topic?
Well, they had a mix of topics. So the first topic was Trinity versus Tawheed, and then they did the preservation of the text, Quran versus Bible.
Oh yes, Muslim. Yeah, I won't watch it because I got a 1-track mind, and if I get involved in Muslim stuff, then I'm done with the Bible. Then I'm all in on that. Like I can't juggle two different faiths. I'm either Nation of Islam or I'm not. Because I got a friend who's trying to get me back in Nation of Islam thing, but I'm already here. And then once I go to Nation of Islam, I'm not gonna be interested in the Bible for a while until I get done with that. Yeah, so once I get there with the Muslim stuff, I'm going to want to now be a part. You know, that's how I am. I'm gonna want that, especially if they're making good points. I'm going to want to beat up on some Muslims with those points.
I thought it was like real smart the platform that they chose because Fresh and Fitman, they had thousands of watchers.
Yeah,
and I thought it was bro, they decimated them. If you can follow the arguments that they made for certain things, they decimated them because the first one was theological, so it had to do a little bit with their text, but more so like the metaphysics of things, like Allah has two hands. Are these literal? Are these symbolic? So like the metaphysics behind their doxology.
Who were they debating?
So Daniel Hakikachu and then another Muslim versus Sam Shamoon and Jay Dyer.
Yeah, but are those like Muslim apologetics? Are they like known?
Yeah. Daniel Hakikachu, yeah. And I forget the other guy's name. It was like oh man, I don't know. But you can tell they weren't Joe Schmoes.
I find like I used to know like the big dogs because big dogs used to come after Sheikh Ahmed D-Dot. So like, and they all were like his like sons. So they try to borrow his style and everything. So I will eventually know. But the reason why I asked that because I don't believe it's that easy to beat up a Muslim scholar like in their Quran. I don't think it's that easy.
I feel like the only one that actually can, honestly, are those two. And Christian Prince. He knows all of the stuff front and backwards.
But that guy, Mr. Morpheus put me on him, and some of his arguments be reaching like a mug. It'd be like super.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Even some of Sam's arguments, but you can tell, like, bro, you know how Sam will do certain discussions. Like I know you've seen him where he just rambles scripture off the top of his head.
Yeah.
He does the same thing with the Quran and with the Hadith, and I'm like, bro, how like it is clear it's not written down on paper. He's just like, boom,
but
boom,
I gotta
boom,
vet these. Yeah, but for me, because I was actually in Islam at one point.
Yeah.
So when you're in something, you kind of know, like there's like I know who the big dogs, Michael Brown, but if I'm not in that, I won't know. Like I would just know one side. So I've been on both sides, and I kind of got a feel for some of the. Well, I don't know if they might have retired because it's been a while. But I gotta vet these guys that they're talking to and make sure that these are serious people because I still got I got Hassan Muhammad still on call. These are my actual real friends. So, and like I could just simply ask them like, hey, who's this guy? And because just because they're Muslim don't mean the Muslim world respects them. And
you
that's
got Muhammad Hijab up there?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm real rusty. Like I'm rusty in the virgin birth. I've been on like 5-6 months. I'm rusty already. So if I ain't been in Islam, if I ain't followed Islam debates in years, then yes, I'm completely rusty. But I got some Muslim friends who I know be still doing that stuff, and I could just ask them like, yo, who's this? Who's that?
Right.
And he'll tell me like, nah, or yes, this guy's serious. And then I could credit, from that point on. But I just can't. It's like it's like the Israelites debating like random Christians. Like we don't respect that. So I same way. I can't let somebody see somebody debate a random Muslim or even a pseudo Muslim. Like, because right now you could debate a Hebrew Israelite, guerrilla Hebrew, and beat him up as a Muslim and think you beat up Christianity. It's like, well, no, he don't really represent Christianity. He's actually bad at reading the Bible.
Right.
So I got to make sure that's not happening on the other side. Yes. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Nah, Muhammad
That's what I'm
Hijab
saying.
dude got like he got a PhD, you know, all these bachelors, a couple masters.
Listen, if the Muslim world don't respect them, that means
Yeah, it don't
absolutely
really
nothing.
matter.
That means nothing. Because in order to like really get a win, it got to be a sheikh, or it got to be not sheikh, it got to be a imam that's widely
Oh,
respected.
Imam, yeah.
Yeah, it got to be, and then that's when like you really like, or at least one of their hardcore debaters that they're behind. Then you're really like, you know, putting a dent in Islam. But like just from what I know, I don't think somebody's. It's like trying to sort issues in the Bible. Like I don't think you're going to win that. Like you'll catch some guys off guard with clever stuff, but I believe properly examine it. I don't believe it works. Properly examine, I don't believe it works.
Yeah.
But I'm open. I'm unbiased. I'm open to in the future check it out and see where it goes.
Yeah.
But just off the top, I believe it might be like with Christianity, like the Hebrews and Christians. The Hebrews like get gotcha moments with Christians, and then when somebody comes behind who's like well studied, like Dr. Brown with Sam Shamoon, it doesn't work. Sheikh Ahmed Didas embarrassed Christians because he cherry picked them. But the serious one that I want to talk to him, like let's say it could have been Michael Brown. Maybe called him out because he's pretty old. He's older like that. He might have called him out, and I'm sure Sheikh said no because his whole thing was debunking Christianity. So when you're a Christian trying to debunk Islam, it's like, yo, this religion stood up for so long for a reason. It wouldn't stood up that long if it's just that easy to poke holes in it. So many scholars tried to, so many Christian scholars tried to, so many atheist scholars tried to debunk it. And the fact that it stood up all this time, like I just don't believe a non-Muslim could come in there and just like prove it to be false. Like in the Quran, maybe in the Bible, but in the Quran, I just don't see that. But again, I don't know. I'm speaking blindly. But from a Christian, from your perspective, you might be a little biased because you actually have a faith and you have a dog in the fight. I don't. I'm not religious.
Yeah,
I
but
don't have a dog in the fight.
Some of the arguments they bring up though, I'm like, they're kind of like those arguments that Hebrew Israelites will bring up, but when you hold the fire to them, they're like, oh no, you know, it's like they don't hold that same standard. So some of the arguments Christians bring up, I'm like, you know,
Yeah, but
see
I
some
don't
of the
even know if
arguments.
those Muslims he's debating are even serious. So I got to find that out before I even watch the debate. You know, I'm gonna find out from Mr. Morpheus and my boy Hassan and the other couple guys that's really in that live that, you know, either lived it or live it now to see if they heard these guys, if they're serious. If they say yes, then it's gonna count. But if they be like, nah, then I won't take it serious because they don't.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, so I'm just saying, like, just, you know, like I said, when you have opposing faith of like the Hebrews, like they think they beat everybody. I destroyed this guy, because they're biased. And then you got Muslims who would think they won because they're biased. And then you know the Christians watching it is going to always like look at the Trinity and Oneness debates. Just read the comments. The Oneness will say they won in a landslide. If you read the Trinity, people say they won in a landslide. So it's like, damn, how they both faiths watch the same debate and then have like unanimous wins for each other. Just because people go in there with a biased mind from the door.
Yeah, that's why when I look at like debates, I try to look at actual points made. Like I already know like my position, but I try to look at the debate itself, like who won, who was the more
Yeah. But
convincing in the arguments
my
and all
only
that.
critique for you is you probably never read the Quran, so how would you know? And by the way, there's different Qurans that's respected and not respected. Okay, but I'm asking you, like, how would you know if this person, the verse they quoted was actually in context? Because that's not your book. Like, you would know in the Bible, but how would you know, like, this particular verse he quoted? Because both of them could be doing the captain, the Muslim and Samson. They can read it out of context. So how would you know? See, that's why I say, like, to follow that Muslim debate, you got to be also involved in the book yourself.
Yeah. So, but some of the arguments though are like they don't require context. Like some of the places that we've gone to in debates where they're like, "Oh, you gotta read the context. What's the context?" And you're like, "Yeah, the context is fine, but Matthew 1:16 says that Jesus was born of Mary. We can read the context, but it boils down to this." There's certain discussions where it goes like that, like when they're looking at the different kida'at, I see what you're saying. Look, trust me. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Just do this. Just put the link in the chat. I'm gonna forward my boy Hassan. I'm gonna see what he says. If you heard this Muslim guy before, it's gonna be real fast. I'm gonna send it to him and say, "Hey, heard this guy." If he say no, and like he lives this Muslim life, like his whole life, he's from Philly. Philly's the home of Islam. Their wife, everybody, his children, they're in this. If you never heard of him and he debates, so if you never heard this guy, if you don't take him serious, then neither am I. Like, that's enough for me. I'm good. Let me. Yeah, so put the link in the chat, and I will send it to him. And again, on the flip side, if he says, "Yeah, that guy's respected Muslim," because he's gonna be honest, he's not gonna lie. Well, because Muslims cheerlead their scholars, so like they're not gonna be ashamed of their scholars. The same way, like some of these Hebrew Israelites be afraid to side with their leaders when they felt like you about to get them. Now all of a sudden, I'm not with it, Camp. I do my own thing. And then we find out later he's with Sakari. Like, not Muslims. Muslims don't do that. Muslims gonna stand behind their imams and sheikhs. Win and loss, they're gonna stand behind them. All right, sneak play. Yeah, but put the link in the chat so I can copy it and send it to him.
All right. Yeah, I got to pause it. He went out for a minute. Let me pause it. Click out, Captain. Come back in.
The Most High froze Captain.
Y'all didn't get that, man. Y'all slow. I was having a baby, brother.
No. What am I with my time?
Your time is right here.
I stopped. So I had to do a little shot because when he was debating Pastor, what's the pastor name? Everybody's favorite pastor. Pastor
Mike.
Nah. Like he must have said it debating. Damn, Pastor, forgive me, man. Man, it's been a while. It'll come later. But when Captain debated him, people said Captain was losing, and then Captain abruptly left because he said one of his wives was having a baby. So when Captain's screen froze, he said, "Captain, what happened? You was having a baby?" Joking saying he was wrong.
Funny. That's funny.
Yeah. All right, let me press play.
Was it 4:55?
Yeah, I stopped it when you went out.
What was the last thing I said? I don't want to repeat the same thing.
What do you want?
Anybody know? Yeah, what's the last thing you heard before I went outside? Wait,
he was dealing with Romans 9.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish with Acts the 11th chapter. In Acts the 11th chapter, he pulled.
Hold on, listen.
I'm here, sir. No, I heard it myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard it myself. I appreciate
you hear that though, right? Listen.
Hold on, let me mute that. I was talking about Acts 11.
Yeah,
so I'm good now. I'm ready.
You got it.
All right, no sweat. So Acts 11:3, it says, saying, "Thou wentest to men uncircumcised and did eat with them." The pastor would have you believe that all 12 tribes of the nation of Israel was in Jerusalem, just loving the Lord. But the truth of the matter is 9 tribes were discontinued from being the Lord's people. So when he brings this up and says uncircumcised, he wants to make you believe that no Israelite was ever uncircumcised. So let's read and see if we ever became uncircumcised. So first Maccabees 1, and I'm gonna go, this is verse 15. I'm gonna start at
what point is he making? Because I was trying to read the chat. But what point is Captain making with circumcision? I missed that.
Oh no, I missed it too.
11. And first Maccabees 1 and uncircumcised. So continued from being the lords of the nation of Israel was witness to men uncircumcised. I was talking about Acts 11. So I'm good now. I'm ready.
You got it.
All right, no sweat. So Acts 11 and 3, it says, saying, thou wentest to men uncircumcised and did eat with them. The pastor would have you believe that all 12 tribes of the nation of Israel was in Jerusalem, just loving the Lord. But the truth of the matter is 9 tribes were discontinued from being the Lord's people.
All right.
So when he
I
brings
guess
this,
when you read First Maccabees, he's going to show how the Israelites were not being circumcised anymore. I guess, therefore not in the covenant, not part of the Abraham covenant.
up and says uncircumcised, he wants to make you believe that no Israelite was ever uncircumcised.
Okay, well, hey, Captain, here's the news now. If that Israelite was uncircumcised, that Israelite was not a part of the covenant. Right? What Abraham was explained to by the Most High was very clear. If you're circumcised, you're part of the covenant. You're not. You're thrown out from the covenant. So, if they were not circumcised, then they were not part of the covenant, and they was basically those were basically a Gentile, like in every way. But you can't call those guys Israelites though. Like they're just pure Gentiles at that point. So they're not even Israelite Gentiles. They're just Gentiles. If they never got circumcised.
So let's read and see if we ever became uncircumcised. So first Maccabees 1, and I'm gonna go, this is verse 15. I'm gonna start at 11. In first Maccabees 1 and 11, it says, in those days went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. So now these is Israelites influencing other Israelites to be like the heathen. It says that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we had much sorrow. And verse 15 says, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and was sold to do mischief. So now, as you have these Israelites being cast off, now you have the 12 tribes of Israel. That's why Christ, who never lied, said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep.
All right, so here's the problem with that, though. See, the captain issue is still silly because now when we read Gentile, yes, it will be the ethnic Gentiles plus those guys who were supposed to be Israelites who never got circumcised and broke the covenant. Yeah, they will be in that Gentile fold. But it won't, but Captain, and I don't even think the pastor or Stacy will argue that. Captain's argument is very clear and it's bad. His argument is exclusive. Captain's arguing that only these Israelites are Gentiles because what he just said, because he read first Maccabees, some crap, that because a few Israelites, a handful of Israelites didn't get circumcised and forsook the covenant. He's acting like, so now when you read Gentile, all of a sudden it's only relying, no. Again, he can't read any passages in context where there's like a whole nation of Israelite Gentiles. You dig? It's a handful of guys. So Gentiles are still people who were not circumcised, just like those Israelites who decided not to get circumcised either. They're all in one pot now as Gentiles. But it doesn't matter because as long as ethnic Gentiles is in that pot, you lost, Captain. That's what he's not understanding. We're not, at least I'm not saying exclusively Gentiles have to be non-Israelites only. All I got to show is that Gentiles are Gentiles. You dig? You could throw Israelites in there all you want. If Gentiles are in there, if ethnic Gentiles are in there too, then the message is still to the Gentiles. Do y'all get that? Is that hard to understand? As long as some of those people Paul is talking to are ethnic Gentiles, lumped up with Israelite Gentiles, what they call them, you lose. Captain got to show that the Gentiles that's being grafted in, none of them are ethnic Gentiles. That's his burden. It's not our burden. We don't got to show how they're not Israel at all. Not one person in Israel. That's not our burden. Our burden is to show one could possibly be an ethnic Gentile. So he got to show not one could be ethnic. We got to show one could be ethnic, and we win, or he wins. That's it. So he the one's being exclusive, not us. We're being inclusive. Yeah. Wait. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I that's that. See, but the thing is, that's what people are not telling him. It's like, dude, I don't have your position. I'm not exclusive. You are. And again, we don't believe all Gentiles. We don't believe all ethnic Gentiles are going. It's a handful of them. It's an elected them. You dig? Selected Israel, selected ethnic Gentiles. So I think they are so used to like listening to like some Christians who just say blind, like who not well studied, who just say all Gentiles, everybody. Like he's used to hearing that argument from like mindless Christians, and now he pastes that argument on all Christians.
Yeah, and that's one thing that they do that is funny when it comes out in debates. The things that ignorant Christians do, they put that on their opponents. Yeah. And their opponent has to spend half the debate being like, well, this isn't my position.
Right.
Like, and it's funny, I know Captain's smart to not do this, to say that in the virgin birth debate with vocab, to say, oh, so Mary had sex with an angel, even though they all do it.
Yeah, right.
Terrible argument.
Okay, so let me
actually wait. I think he did.
I don't think so.
Or maybe that came out in a question.
He would ask that?
No, not in his questions. The audience questions and answers.
I have to say, like the average Israelite, like I never heard one Israelite debate like somebody who was defending virgin birth, like somebody serious, like or kind of serious, and they said, "Hey, the angel thing."
Yeah,
that would be a bad look for them. Like, dude, man, you're really dumb.
Israel. So in Matthew 10:5, he says, "Go rather to 10:6." First of all, he says, "Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and any city of Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." What does that even mean, lost? It don't mean that they can't find a way to Israel. It means lost in the wickedness that they were doing. So he would have to show, as I've shown, I've clearly shown, I don't know if y'all heard me when I did Romans, the 9th chapter. Now I'll give another one in Genesis. Now I'll take it back to Genesis. In Genesis 35:10, when the Lord spoke to Jacob, he gave Jacob a prophecy of what his children would become. It says, "And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob, thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name." And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, "I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins." So even in the prophecy of what Jacob would become, we would become scattered in other nations.
All right, now I was kind of like texting my boy.
That's why I read James. He's shown, I don't know if y'all heard, find a way to Israel. Yeah. First of all, he says, "Go not into the way of the Gentiles in any city of Israel."
Yeah, he don't want to. Like, I don't have gas and ride him around and fall asleep, so he don't want to take his nap. So like now he just chilling right now. He just sleepy, was fighting it, but he pretends like he's not sleeping. So he like, dude, everything you're doing, you're basically sleepwalking.
Go make him watch the Gorilla Hebrew Romans.
Yeah. Cut that over.
So in Matthew 10:5, he says, "Go rather to 10:6." First of all, he says, "Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and any city of Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." What does that even mean, lost? It don't mean that they can't find a way to Israel. It means lost in the wickedness that they were doing.
Okay, fine. I want to know, who are they? You dig? This lost people, which kingdom, or is it both combined? But see, what happened happens is, I don't know if Stacey did this, but Stacey, like, people are just, good orators. Good orators. They are good, presenting, but they're not really clever, witty debaters.
Yeah,
Especially
that's Captain.
especially like form to fly. So I don't know, because these questions would come to my mind right away. It's like, wait, so Captain, you say lost Israel? Is that everybody, or is that one is that one kingdom?
No, ask them like they would ask us. Well, which kingdom is this, or which nation is this?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Ask them just like that. Be like, no, you can't say it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It says nation.
Yeah. This way, you get this way. Where you going? You gonna go up there? Go. Up.
Oh yeah. And then yesterday, I don't know if you're still going with that one point, but I don't think that's a point that's necessarily something to be brought out with Ahab. Just because the slaves they could, those literally Israelites, there's laws in there that, if your slave is your brother, there's certain things you have to do, because you could sell yourself into slavery to pay off a debt. That's what Jacob did when he was working for his wife, or ended up being wives.
I think you can come. All right, let me play this real fast. I got a little bit of time. Let me try to get as much as possible. Okay, so we're at the lost house of Israel. He won't tell what nation or even what kingdom this is. None of them.
So he would have to show, as I've shown. I've clearly shown. I don't know if y'all heard me when I did Romans the 9th chapter. Now I'll give another one in Genesis. Now I'll take it back to Genesis. In Genesis 35:10.
Okay.
When the Lord spoke to Jacob, he gave Jacob a prophecy of what his children would become. It says, and God said unto him, thy name is Jacob, thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. So even in the prophecy of what Jacob would become, we would become scattered in other nations. That's why I read James. I have to read that again, just people didn't hear that one. That's why James 1:1, James, servant of God and of our Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. So he has not shown. These two rounds that we had is really about salvation being for non-Israelites. Gentiles are not a race of people. So he chose to bring up Acts the 10th chapter with Cornelius, and then asked me to show, where did God cleanse Israelites? Why did he have to cleanse Israelites? I read Ezekiel 37:23, where he said he would clean Israelites. That's what the vision is about. So if anybody want to know why he's saying what God hath cleansed, he cleansed them in Ezekiel 37:23. When he read Acts 11:3, talking about the uncircumcised, I showed you in the Maccabees where they became uncircumcised themselves and now had the opportunity to repent. I showed y'all the prophecy in in Hosea, Paul quoting Hosea, that they would be not his people, and then they would be his people. If I keep going in Romans the 9th chapter, it further solidified.
They were not his people.
Hey, you know what though? You know what? I'm biased. I gotta give Captain credit, because at least he kind of stays on track. Like he's showing you why he's going to these places. But these other guys, they just go there and they think for some reason you can read their mind and know why they're going places. Right. But I can at least follow Captain in his arguments.
Yeah.
See, that's why even though me and Captain disagree, I don't talk real bad about him unless his arguments are just terrible, which some of them are, but I mean, at least I'm able to follow what he's saying, so I can at least give him credit there. Yeah, that's why Captain's more respected than Gorilla Hebrew.
Yeah. Oh my. Oh, yo, that lecture he did, man. I'm good, man. I was giving.
Captain should have debated Dr. Michael Brown.
Yeah, Gorilla, man. Yeah, that I gave him a little credit before he witnessed that. Like it's like dude, like you are down there with Rotson's on, really.
And he was
So
doing
again,
videos acting
this
all
debate,
fake with vocab
this round,
before the debate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
his premise was that Gentiles are not Israelites. And then he actually read the definition of Gentiles and read that Gentiles be people. So if Gentiles can be Israelites, why did he challenge me on them not being Israelites? That was not a smart argument to make. Last scripture before I yield, Jeremiah 3:23. Two scriptures I'm gonna read. Jeremiah 3:23. Truly in vain is salvation hoped for in the hills and from the multitude of mountains. Truly in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel. Why is that important? Because in Matthew 5:17, Christ said, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. So the prophets of old never said the nations will get this salvation. Only said Israel will get this salvation. So Cornelius is an Israelite. It's not that hard.
Oh my God.
You know how many Israelites could be a centurion and be in the band?
How many?
It's not that deep. I yield.
All right, brother Cornelius, are you locked and loaded, brother, for your rebuttal?
He ain't Cornelius. His name is Stacy Mobley.
I mean, damn, man.
He said it was an Israelite, right? Yeah, that was funny as hell. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
He called him Cornelius. He ain't even say nothing.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, brother. Captain just says Cornelius. That was on my mind. Stacy's brother. I'm sorry, brother.
Right.
Stacy, damn, man. I'm bugging out.
That's all right.
Because that's all I kept saying was Cornelius. I was looking it up while y'all was talking. Okay, brother. Are you ready for your 7-minute rebuttal, Stacy? Pastor Stacy.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, the time will start when you start, brother.
All right. What have we just heard? We just heard a bunch of rhetoric. We've heard the captain try to explain away what Acts chapter 10 and 11 clearly says. You don't have to be a scholar. You're right. It's not hard. All you have to do is read the text. See, he has to twist the text to make it something else that it's not. He has to do that in order to say his only Israelite doctrine. You can take a fifth grader, you can take a sixth grader and have them to read it, and they will clearly see that this is talking about two sets of different people. And so he has to twist the scriptures. That's his only out. That's the only way he can try to salvage his doctrine, is to twist the scriptures in Acts chapter 10. Cornelius was an Israelite. And he deal with verses and say it's all Israel? It just doesn't make sense. It makes no sense at all. And so he missed it on those passages. He goes to Ezekiel chapter 37. Ezekiel chapter 37 is a New Testament fulfillment of the church. I know he doesn't understand all that. Ephesians chapter 2 shows that God brought both Jew and Gentile together, breaking the middle wall of partition down. He says, well, Paul was a Roman. You could be a Roman. Well, Paul would have Roman citizenship, but he was a Jew.
Right.
That's different than saying Cornelius was a Roman. He was a Roman centurion. The whole context, the whole buildup, the whole chapter is preparing Peter to go to someone of another race. Peter says, you know, it's unlawful for me to go into one of another race. Why would it be unlawful if this was his brother? Doesn't make sense. If you would just read the text and be honest and open and not try to hold on to a theory, you wouldn't make these blunders. And so his rhetoric continues and continues. And he goes to Acts 10. He didn't address anything specific in the text. He mentions it. He doesn't counter what it says. He can't counter it. It's plain. He has to try to somehow fix up this theory that it's only Israel, and the text won't allow it. Like I said in the beginning of this, I'm not keeping score. I'm trying to help him. I'm sure he doesn't want my help, but I'm trying. I'm trying to show him what the scriptures plainly teach. If he took off those Hebrew Israelite glasses, he can see clearly what the Bible is saying. We're not here to try to prove our position based going to the scriptures. We let the scriptures do that, and that's the mistake. Only to the house in John chapter 10.
Okay, all right, family. Captain Tazariak, and I want to say, Pastor Stacy Mobley. This is your Captain Tazariak got 7 minutes of rebuttal. You should be right now, as he's speaking, brother, getting your closing arguments ready. Get your closing arguments ready. And Captain Tazariak, you got 7 minutes in your rebuttal. The time starts when you start, my brother.
That's what I appreciate it. I think we have a Q&A, or we could take calls or something like that.
Yeah. We got first you're gonna do your close out, and then we're gonna open up the Q&A.
Okay, no sweat.
All right.
The pastor is very good at soothsaying. He said I didn't read Romans 9:24. Anybody can go look at that and see that he's lying. I started at Romans.
No, he said he didn't exegete it. He just read it. Said that's not what it means. Oh, man.
He keeps calling Cornelius a centurion, which he is. A centurion is like a cop. It's like being in the military. That's why I read the sons of Israel.
Yeah.
Oh, no, keep going. I'm just slight commentary.
Okay.
Caesar's service to show that in history, Israelites was in the Roman army.
All right, man. Can you show us an
Wait, where did he show that? Yeah, where did he show that?
I guess I don't know.
If anybody was following Captain's arguments, post it in the chat. Whatever he put, Maccabees. I don't know what he.
No, it wouldn't be tonight because tonight I start off at 1. I start off at 1 hour and 10 minutes. So if he said it was probably before then.
Oh yeah, I gotta find that thing because that's something that they were not allowed to do, is be part of the Roman army.
It says call Cornelius a centurion of the band called the Italian band. That's an army. I don't know what his point was. And then he lied. Listen, man, I know that y'all like listening to passing because they sound loud and make it seem like they're talking correct. So when he read Romans 9:24 and 25, and then went to Hosea, you notice he did not read Hosea, but filibustered and said it was talking about a people that wasn't Israel. But what did Hosea say? Hosea said, yet that Hosea 1:10 that Paul is quoting clearly says, yet the number of the children of Israel, not other nations that he's trying to make those Gentiles be other nations. It says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in this way said unto them, unto the Israelites, not to non-Israelites, but unto them ye are not my people. There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. That's why Paul is quoting that in Rome. Verse 11 in the same chapter, then shall the children of Israel, children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head. That's Christ. Even when he says, I have other people that are not of this fold, he's trying to sing those other nations. During the time of Christ, only other kingdom was there. The northern kingdom predominantly was not there because they were cast off and scattered throughout the four corners. That's why he says, I have other people that are not of this fold. Let's go back to Romans, the 9th chapter, because he said, if I read it all, I would get the understanding. Now, let's see what Paul does after he quotes Hosea. Verse 26, it says, it shall come to play. No, let me go to verse 27. Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel. It don't say concerning other nations, other people. It says, Isaiah crieth concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. Verse 29, as Isaiah saith before, except the Lord of Sabbath had left us a seed, we had been as Sodom and has been as Gomorrah, meaning there is no more Sodomites and Gomorrites no more, because the Lord destroyed them. So now verse 30, what shall we say then? That the Gentiles which follow after, not after righteousness. What Gentiles are we talking about? The same Gentiles in Romans 9:24. We're not talking about another nation Gentiles. We're talking about the same Gentiles in verse 24 that go right with verse 25, which is quoting Hosea.
Yeah, so you see, I'm seeing his strong argument. So he's like very comfortable in Hosea 1:10, cross-reference it with Romans 9:24. So this is something that one need to debunk clearly for Captain, because he's stuck on this. It don't look like he's stuck on Romans 11 too much. See, Captain arguments be different than Sakari. Sakari likes to stay on, and all the affiliates like to stay on Romans 11. Captain don't like to stay on those type of. You see, like even the virgin birth arguments are different from Sakari's. He focuses on Second Samuel, all that stuff, and Acts 2:30, those things. But yeah, so Hosea 1:10, Romans 9:24.
So he would have to show where Hosea said the other nations are in there, because Hosea did not say that. If he does, then he's a liar. Again, the scriptures say, let God be true.
Yeah, but just okay, all right, never mind.
Every man a liar. So when it says the Gentiles which follow,
I was gonna say in Romans 9. Let me get this. In Romans 9, I would just hold him to, okay, who is Israel here? Is Israel northern? Because Jews, Gentiles, and Israel is mentioned. Now, if Jews are the southern kingdom and Israel is the northern kingdom, then the Gentiles cannot be either of the two, because they've already been mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a way. Yeah, that's why for me it's just like it's easy to set them up in Romans 11. Yes. Okay. Here. Go here. Look right here. You go.
No. Go.
You just sleepy.
No, go.
I did it. Okay. Boom. Got it.
not after righteousness, have attained the righteousness, even the righteousness of faith. That's because we both fell. The southern kingdom, the northern kingdom fell first, and then the southern kingdom fell. So nobody followed after the law of righteousness. That's why verse 31 says, but Israel, which follow after the law of righteousness, have not attained it, because neither the
yeah, that's why you got to ask this guy when it's saying Israel, which nation?
Right.
Because he's tricky. Sometimes he'll say it's everybody. Sometimes he'll just say it's northern, and he might just say it's southern. So if you don't hold him to it, he's done. I mean, you're done if you don't hold him to it. So that's why I would go to Romans 11 and what I would do is let him go where he want to go, but make Romans 11 the focal point. Because right now they're talking about everything. So Captain's loving that one.
southern nor northern kingdom followed it. That's the Gentiles that it's talking about in that verse.
All right. So now he just said it. The Gentiles are northern and southern collectively.
Romans the 11th chapter says, for Israel shall be saved. You notice in the theme of this debate, when
Captain, that Israel, is that still northern and southern collectively?
y'all go back and watch this, anything that has to do with saved or salvation, it's clear Israel. I read them all.
Yeah, but you just said, see, that's the confusing part. It's clear Israel, but if it says Gentile, that's not clear Israel.
Daddy.
Clear Israel, he'll just say Israel. Like a clear sunny day, there's no dispute. Oh, yes. Go. Yeah, so when something is clear, there's no controversy. There's no confusion. it's saying Gentiles, but that's really Israel, that's not clear. If it needs
Right.
a breakdown, it's not clear. Okay, I'll go.
I'll go.
Move, scary monster.
Shall save his people. Romans 11 and 26. And so all Israel shall be saved. Where's everybody at? Where's everybody at? According to the promise.
Okay, you know what's funny? That's why I got to write this stuff down. Dude, everybody is in Israel. The word Israel is inclusive. Just like you making Gentile, it can expand to everybody. So can Israel. So wait, so only Gentile can be expanded. But Israel can't. So that's why, like, you gotta, like, with this guy, you gotta, like, talk to the audience through him. You can't really talk to him. You gotta talk to the audience through him. And that's why I won, really, because I realized I was messing up that, and my last argument, I decided to just talk to the crowd and not to him.
Are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the promise and the giving of the law.
Captain. So right now I'm writing stuff down. Like, so Captain, in my cross examination. So Captain, it says Israel here. Who's this? And I just keep doing that. All right, now this time you said this in Romans 9. You said this over here. Who's this Israel? I said, see, this guy's confused. He's saying it's both, but then have room. So the Gentiles, who are they? And all these Israelites still lost. Are they still lost? So they're lost, but they know they're Israel, right? So now we got two different type of Israelites. We got two lost type of Israelites. We got ones that's lost, but know they're Israel. And we got ones who lost that don't know they're Israel. They think they're Samaritans and Gentiles. Guys, is this clear, or does this sound like a bunch of confusion?
You notice he didn't touch that scripture at all. He has not answered any of the scriptures that I've given. I've answered every scripture that he's given in this debate and showed clearly Cornelius is just the Israelite in the Roman army. That's all. I clearly show 11 and 3 uncircumcision does not mean that they were non-Israelites, because Israelites was uncircumcised too. So
so 2 means collective. I mean, 2 means inclusion. See, that's the thing.
Right.
Again, like okay, Cap, you just said they were Israelites too, but no, don't even say that, because he won't agree. Just say, Captain, you were proving that, or you worded the way you want to. So the Israelites were uncircumcised too, right? Yeah. Okay, so both, right? Okay. So aren't Gentiles uncircumcised? So how is this uncircumcision word exclusively just Israel if they're both uncircumcised? Maybe it's just talking about uncircumcised people, whether it be Jew or Gentile.
Talking about salvation, they clearly knew Christ said, go not into the way of the Gentiles, meaning don't follow after them, but go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That was a clear order. So show me where he said to go to non-Israelites. So they would have to travel to Rome, Galatia, Cappadocia. They would have to travel everywhere. And they had a specific message to the children of Israel. I read James. I could read it again. I read 1 Peter 1:1. Even when
Pastor Bennett, that's his name. Pastor Bennett, the guy I was talking about earlier. Pastor Bennett.
Paul quotes, he always quotes our fathers. Why is he saying our fathers when Abraham is only the Isaac's father? The other nations, the other sons Abraham had are not his father. I yield.
All right. I'm not gonna play the rest. I mean, you can give commentary on what you just heard, and then we're gonna sum it up for this part, and then we could revisit this maybe tomorrow, and go through the rest of the video. The chat's gonna call in, I guess.
Yeah.
And ask questions.
I was basically gonna say, you gotta understand when he's saying our, because what's he reading in when he says Father Abraham?
I don't even know.
Okay, because you got to keep Paul's letters all in context, because Paul is going to tell you when it's according to the flesh. When he doesn't, he's meaning it in a broader sense, in the sense of Galatians 3:28. That hold up, let me just go read it. Make this easier. Galatians 3:28. There is neither Jew nor Greek there. Oh wait, no, not it. I think it's verse. Where is it? Oh, okay. Verse 7 of Galatians 3. Know ye therefore that they which are of faith, the same are the children of Abraham. So, Jesus or Paul or any of the disciples could say to the Syrophoenician woman, our father Abraham, because she had faith. See how that works, Captain? So the our father is not taken in a literal sense.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's interesting when they bring up, what is it, 1 Corinthians 10, when it says our fathers were under the cloud.
Yeah.
There was a lot of different people under the cloud, not just Israelites. There were strangers. So it's not telling you at what point they were under the cloud, because at a certain point, a lot of them were killed off. But there was Caleb and Joshua, at least that we know, that went into the land. Caleb was a stranger. So our fathers, hey, there was a lot of people under there, you know. So that's why I still, even to this day, when they make that point, I never concede to that, because I'm like, well, it doesn't say there was just Israelites under that cloud. Like, there were strangers with them. You agree, right? Yeah, but strangers were killed off. Yeah, but how do you know that when Paul was referring to our fathers under the cloud, he was referring to after this, quote unquote, all of the strangers were destroyed? Even if that is the case, I don't believe it is. But yeah, do you know what passage Captain was reading?
What's that?
If you just back up, like, go on the video and just back up maybe like 15, 20 seconds, because he read something. I don't know if he paraphrased it or read it.
Oh, okay. All right. I just left that. I was looking. All right, hold on. Give me a second.
Oh, man.
Knew only what she had seen on the news, that the Hollison's 23-year-old son Chandler had gone to the police, telling them his parents.
I was in the process of looking for if he argued or did a lecture on the Gentiles before.
Oh, Romans 11.
Yeah, I was saying if he did a guerrilla Hebrew and Arila just. Okay, so he debated this again, but I want him to do a lecture on it. Trying to find out if he did a lecture on it without debating.
You know, we start to think of crazy things because our cabin's up in the woods, and so that's, we were worried that are they being held hostage somewhere? The day after Chandler reported that missing.
So far, I only see him doing debates on it.
Oh, bro, I found another Sakari breakdown. It says Romans 11, grafting and breakdown by Sakari Public Enemies.
Yeah, that channel, right? Is it the same one that we did? See,
I don't know if it was the same one we were looking at.
So sometimes they re-upload it from their channel, name it something. It'll be the same channel.
Yeah, they got a different picture for it, so I don't know if it's the same one. Let me just click on it and see.
Yeah, it might be, because they do that.
Oh, it's the same boring breakdown.
Told you. They do
the same one. Okay.
Looks like it's like Captain debated this again recently with some of the same guys. So I guess I'm a.
Oh, bro, we might have to hear this. Do you know Albie from Clubhouse?
Who?
Yeah, Albee?
I'm not familiar.
Okay. So he did a debate with Captain Tazariak on Clubhouse on salvation. I feel like we need to watch that. He's a good debater. I don't know how he did in this one though.
Put it in the chat so you can click and I click.
Yeah. In our chat?
Yeah, the YouTube chat.
Oh, YouTube. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Is consistent with Telus. His lawyer says phone data does not place him at the scene. Losing a job is not a motive. That's case law.
Okay, so yes, that one, and maybe if you do like because they have different titles for it. They don't just do Romans 11 breakdown. They do who are
It probably
the wild
salvation.
olive tree.
Yeah. Yes. Go get it. Yeah, I literally just ate peanuts all day today, man, and coffee.
Peanuts and coffee.
That's
That
crazy.
ain't bad.
Go.
Need some protein and energy.
That's all I had all day.
You got to try them. Buy some Shilajit gummies.
Who?
It's Shilajit. It basically gives you like a lot of energy. I've been trying them. They pretty decent. They're pretty decent. Although I can't feel the effects as much as like say sea moss. Sea moss, I feel it like
The sausage?
and out. What did you say?
Okay.
No, I was saying sea moss, I feel the effects like maybe an hour after, and then it's like I can feel it. But Shilajit, I can still feel it, just not as strong.
Okay. So yeah, so I don't see any. So I guess I gotta go to Crossline Radio. Crossline Radio. And look for it that way. Where is Cross the Line Radio?
When the Hodersons disappeared, it stunned everyone who knew them. Barbie Townsend said neither her cousin Krista nor her husband Bart would just leave on a whim. He was more structured. She was the more nurturing, indulging mom.
One who has fed it. I'm breaking down right quick. Don't forget it.
Loved art projects. He was a managing director for an international accounting firm and enjoyed woodworking.
There you go. Look.
The laws of the strangers, love thy stranger like he's yourself.
Yeah, right here.
Circumcise your stranger, right? To me,
this ain't Captain though. Oh no.
Is wearing a neck brace. Investigators anxious to find out what had happened to Bart and Krista Halderson. As deputies from the Lake County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, I'm about to put some hours in, clocking some overtime on this topic.
You think you're ready for Captain on the big screen?
Nah.
This is a lot of pressure.
Nah, some of my arguments got to be fine-tuned for sure. Honestly, I just got to figure out their arguments and just study on the opposite side. That's about it.
Not when you're on Sinaitic. Maybe on Captain's channel or he not. I think if you just give a better opposing argument, I think that works. That's where I messed up at. I still won, but I made it close because I was doing what you're saying. I need all his arguments. And I realized I just got to make a great defense for the virgin birth. Or not defense, but a great argument for the virgin birth. That's what I finally did last. Yeah. That's what I finally did last. And make him chase after me. Like, why am I chasing after him? Like, I got the A side. The virgin birth, anybody read it, that's your conclusion. His conclusion, you're not going to get when you read it straightforward. Just like the Gentile things. Like, yo, you the A side. I'm the A side with Gentiles too. Like, yo, you read that, it's clear. These are different people. He got the negative side. He got to show how they're the same. And all I got to do is keep showing how they're different. And it already, when you read it, it already shows them different. So I got to just keep hammering that. And then you can occasionally debunk his stuff, but go back to your stuff.
Yep.
And then you're going to see him chase after you, and that's going to be easy. That's what I'm going to do when I debate him. Well,
yeah, because if you make an airtight argument and they don't, at least debunk it, which I think, that's got to be a part. I'm thinking about, tightening up, like how quick I debunk something and then go back to my argument. Because if you address both points efficiently, then to the audience, Captain came up with this, but he said this, and then he couldn't even touch his opponent's argument. I've seen that's what good debaters do. It's funny because I was watching that debate with Sam, and that's exactly what he did. Dude, it was funny, man. Sam was just, Sam was being Sam.
A goon, a hooligan in a lot of senses.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean,
that man got me wanting to go Catholic, but yeah.
Oh, he's Catholic?
Yeah, well, yeah, he's come out and finally said it. Like for a while, I was watching his videos. He never said he was Catholic, but now the way he talks about Mary and stuff like that, like you got to tell he's Catholic.
All right, so he's Immaculate Conception for real.
Yeah, and perpetual virginity and all that stuff. They got a good argument for the perpetual virginity of Mary. You know what, in Matthew 1:25, when it says, and Joseph knew her not till she brought forth her firstborn.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say knew her not till means that at some point they were going to have sex. But there's other places in the Bible where that phrase is used, and the thing that says that's going to happen never happens. And I'm like, that's not a terrible argument to make.
Well, that's interesting because during the virgin birth, I was the one out of you and LJ was saying, hey, I don't see those kids. It says like spiritual brothers for Christ, and I was the one saying I don't see Joseph and Mary having sex to have those. You know what I mean? That was kind of where I was going. But you and LJ, no, till. That's y'all were doing.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, once I saw the other side, I was like, oh, okay, it's not a bad argument because I'm thinking till means this is gonna happen,
Detective Ryan Chung asked him to once again describe the last time he had seen his parents.
Yeah, I think this one right here, I'm looking at, this is when he debated just recently the panel on the same thing, the Romans thing. It wasn't just Stacy, it's a couple people. So that's another one to hear Captain's little arguments.
Yeah.
They were going to go with their friends.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I think you just worry about strengthening your argument first. Make sure your argument is perfect, and then you go ahead and look at a little bit of what he might say to this, and or the same verses you bring out, what's his understanding? Because he already know he's going Romans 9:24. He's going to go to Ezekiel 37. I don't even know his argument there. I don't even know what he said.
Ezekiel
but
37, that probably connecting that with Romans 11, maybe.
I don't know because he's a little different than Curry. So
Yeah, that's true.
I got to hear it. I don't know why he went there because even like just now they brought it up. The pastor brought up, captain brought up, but they really didn't recap what was said.
What did you say? You know, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. They had discovered.
You know, you can always call Crossline Radio Captain thing and maybe ask him questions. You ain't gotta read debate. You can just challenge him on some things and hey, I heard this and ask questions and respond. That's what I did the first time. I just called, got his position on a certain thing. Like, okay, all right. He'll let me call, but he ain't gonna answer none of my questions because he gonna already know why I'm calling.
Yeah.
So I can't, but IBM claims he calling people out. So I'm like, well, why don't you just go on Sarnetta? I said, I can, see what I can do. Let them know I know a debater who want to call out some people. I'm sure, like, he loves debates. He got he made one of his channels a debate platform. So of course he wants debate. Like even if you trash, yeah, like even if you trash, he gonna put you on there, let you get smashed. But IBM had all these excuses for a perfect, like he's like Morpheus, like for a perfect guy to never debate. That's just hilarious. Like he claimed he told everybody, he stole his arguments, but he won't officially debate anybody.
Bro, he claimed he taught me. I'm like, bro, this is my second time speaking to you. What are you talking about? I don't even subscribe to your channel.
Yeah, I'm like, but him, all he gotta do is mention it. Hey, electric cars. That's all you gotta say. Okay, electric cars. I taught you. Or if he have you debate, hey, Mitch, you should debate this topic. This is interesting. Right, let me look into it. Oh yeah, it's not bad. Oh, don't debate that topic. He taught you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of. I don't see a lot of videos with him. I see a few. I don't see a lot of videos with him in that topic. Maybe I will just call him. And one of these days, I'm just gonna call in because I really don't see much. So I got to get it out in one way. I got to say, Kat, I see you stay in debate with Stacy, man. I don't know, man. I got a few questions for you. Yeah, because I don't see a title too much in here.
50 years in Hollywood, Sunday morning. New York City beaches closed to swimmers due to potentially dangerous rip currents.
I never seen Captain debate Sam, right?
Nah, he won't.
Details in my yellow alert forecast. Plus what you need to know about
I wonder why.
shaking up the real estate industry.
I think it's really just Sakari who likes to jump on other people's platforms because Deacon has been on God Logic's platform, JP's platform, Gorilla went on Sam's. They're the only ones that like to hop on other people's platforms. Captain likes to stay at Cross the Line Radio.
Okay, so here's another one. Here's another salvation one. And I guarantee you this salvation is going to be touching on Romans. At some point, they're going to go there.
You can understand a lot about us humans if you just look at our wallets. Behind cards and receipts, there's almost always a picture of loved ones.
Okay, all right.
Reminders that nothing matters.
Is my screen sharing?
Yeah.
Which is why every TD employee helps to make our
Yeah, so I'm going to get off in a second, but let me just peek right here real fast.
And we're also leading, changing where and how people think with the financial and customers.
Getting an interview from, he was Vietnamese. His name was like, I'm gonna spell it in the chat. So his name was this. I'm gonna Christian church believe, we would believe
from the Philippines, but in
Hey,
Mexico.
yo, look at the top right emblem. You remember those guys? You said, wait, are you on Bias Sports?
Oh yeah.
Yo, you got banned, yo. You don't even know you got banned.
They also
banned
have
by
that
association.
East. You know that, Brother Gerald?
I mean, I was
get
like, you be on Bias Lives? Like, yeah, okay, then you probably gonna tear me up. Then I'll pass.
my
I
brother.
think those are the guys I emailed, right?
Oh, there we go.
hello.
Yeah, bro. I emailed and immediately they're like, "You associated with Unbiased?"
Yeah. So you know this guy be watching. How the hell they know you? Like,
Yeah.
and at that point, like you wasn't like there. You wasn't on like you are now. You'll pop up here and there because it was LJ. Like
from,
LJ really.
I texted him from the Minister Meach. Like
Yeah,
when I
no, I'm saying,
emailed
but
in
even then, even at that time, it was LJ was here the most.
Okay.
Yeah, the time you hit him up, like you was a feature here and there. LJ was like every day. So that's why LJ couldn't do it.
That means they was researching you,
right? Or no, they was already on. Like they was already watching.
Yeah.
You know, and they seen you in there a few times. That's good enough for them. Like, yo, why that name looks familiar? Wait, are you been on Vice Lives? Oh yeah, nah. Hell no. Yeah, I still want one of them. I got two of them, but I let them off the hook. Even Rotson's on. I let them off the hook. I didn't really. That's why I was being nice. I wasn't really like hammering people until we started to recently just force everybody on Matthew 1:16. No more playing around. I wasn't doing that with these guys at first. Like, because even I got Captain and we got Arila, we got those guys. Like, we got them. But I really took it easy on Rodson, Zahn, these True Nation guys. But I still want one of them because I ain't never get them good. I got at least one person for every camp good. I never got a True Nation guy really good. So I think I'm gonna work back on them. But they had a memoir on me at one point. They had a straight memo. Do not debate him. Do not make us look bad.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we could hear ensign for the nations, and all nations are going to see it. He's only going to assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together platform. So I'm just getting new to your platform.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Okay, I apologize. So go ahead and ask your question again. I apologize.
Philippines.
Okay, I'll repeat my question again. My first question to you, Bird Captain Tasariak, is this. Do you believe that Yeshua is the true Christ or the Messiah?
No.
But also the Gentiles, the nations of the Gentiles in Romans 9:24. But let me read back again Matthew.
Okay, so now they touched on it. So I'm gonna end it right here because I want to watch from here because the guy got captain in Romans. So that's all I want to say. I don't care what the debate title is, as long as Captain going Romans, that's all that matters to me. Because when I talk to these guys, I'm pretty much ain't gonna leave Romans. Now I am gonna play around with Matthew's 10 and like the Gentile. go, don't go. I am going to play around, practice with the circumcision. I will go there, but most of my arguments are going to be Romans. I don't care. They could do 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It doesn't matter. It's going to be Romans. As long as we stay in Romans for most of it, cool. And guess what? If they don't stay into it, I'm going to go in. And they're going to be forced to trail behind me because the word Gentiles there, and they don't come back and clean it up. The audience is going to believe Gentile is Gentile. So
Yeah, I think I'm
a
sticking. If I ask Captain a question, if I hop on there, I'm gonna go to Romans 9, and I'm gonna be like, when that Jew is mentioned, is that Southern Kingdom? He might say yes. Who knows? Okay, when Israel's mentioned, which kingdom is that?
Right.
Okay, so now we got both kingdoms. So who are the Gentiles?
Right. But what you gotta do is you gotta be prepared for any answer. He might say the Jews are Southern. And you say Israel, he might say that's everybody. And now you might be a deer in headlights because you ain't prepared for the answer. Like, okay. And now you're trying to process it.
So if it's both, when Paul then says Israel, is he just reiterating Jews? That would be a follow-up to that. And does that mean everybody there, Israel? Because if that does, I don't think he would say that. It wouldn't make any sense, because if it's all, who would the Gentiles be? This is why we got to practice, because I really want to try that question out.
You got to be prepared for anything they say, no matter how silly it is, because they're trying to survive. So they'll say some crazy stuff, man. I heard some wacky stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get off here, man. I'm sleepy anyway.
All right, bro. All right. Just hit me up if you want to hop on tomorrow. I'll have some time.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Shalom.